Still a lot of time left in the MLB offseason. Me and James want to talk about the 5 teams that we think have the most work to do still. These are teams with expectations that we expect to be playoff teams, but how are they going to get there? There's still a lot of holes on these rosters. Me and James have each picked our 5 teams with the most to do. Before we do get going into it, make sure you guys are subscribed to the Windup. We appreciate you. Thank you guys for the amazing support. Without further ado, Mr. Schiano, take it over. Where do you want to start?
I think I have one where I don't know what this team's plan is. I don't know what they think is going to happen after this season. I don't know what this team thinks even happened last season. Why are the Detroit Tigers not being more assertive with their offseason plan? Realistically, you probably have one more year of Tarek Skubal on your roster.
Yeah.
Why are you not pushing chips into the center, really trying to build out a lineup right now that leaves so much to be desired right now? A lot of positions that aren't the most difficult in the world to upgrade either.
Yeah, the Tigers were a team that I considered did not make it onto my list just because I think we know what's going on there. It's just in our heads as fans or as people that watch baseball, it's the wrong decision. I think that's like the way that they're going about everything this offseason makes little to no sense. Like I like the additions that they've of Kenley Jansen to the bullpen. You brought back Kyle Finnegan. That's good. The bullpen's not really a worry for me with the Tigers. The rotation after Tarek Skubal does get a little bit dicey, and we know that offense is very kind of hit or miss at times. Like it's not the most reliable team in a division where if you just put in
anything
10% of trying to win, you will run away with it easily. You have the best player in the entire division in Tarek Skubal. You have to do more for this team.
I'm going to read you a series of numbers right now, and I want you to tell me what you think they signify, okay?
Sure.
Okay. 5, 5, 4, 6, 4, 3, 17, 21, 22, 25, 20, 21, 26, 16.
What that signifies?
What do you think that signifies? I just gave you 14 numbers.
14 numbers. What does that signify? Is that the amount of money that each of these players is making this year?
That is the payroll ranking of the Detroit Tigers since 2012.
Whoa, okay, bad.
So the Tigers spent a very long time in the early mid-2010s, really starting with 2008 when they started again pushing a lot of chips into the middle. That was right around the time that Dave Dombrowski was the lead executive there.
Maglio.
Yeah, they had some teams that were ready to rip. They had the famous Max Scherzer, Justin Verlander, who else in that rotation?
Doug Fister, I believe, was in that rotation.
David Price was there for
Robbie
a hot second. Robbie Ray. There was also Anibal Sanchez. But the Tigers had a team. Tigers had a team that was ready to win a World Series for about a decade straight, and it didn't work, and they tore the entire thing down. Since then, now the Tigers have had 2 straight years of tremendous success. This year, they were as close as a team could be from getting to the Final Four. They went to, 19 innings in the ALDS Game 5? Like, for them to go, again, they have made some minor improvements across the board this year. I do think they're expecting, just better play, like, projection out of guys like Cole Keith, Kerry Carpenter, Riley Green, Spencer Torkelson steps forward, Dylan Dingler steps forward for a nice young nucleus they have, but just to go into the season when it might be the last you have at Tarek Skubal, and like Wensiel Perez, Zach McKinstry, and Parker Meadows as like 3 players in your starting lineup every single day, and not really having consistency in your rotation besides Tarek Skubal. I know Casey Mize was good, Jack Flaherty, whatever you guys want to say about him. I like Reese Olson, but he's coming off an injury. There isn't really an SP5 to speak of with Jackson Jobe still in the IL. Like you gotta go for it here. Like maybe this Kevin McGonigal, but how are you getting this team over the hump when you were quite close to it last year?
It feels like there's such an easy fix to make this team so much better than everyone. Like imagine they actually went after Alex Bregman. Alex Bregman would be so good on this team playing third base. He would be amazing to bring him in. Like that makes so much sense. Even in center field, like you said, all the guys like of Wenzel and Parker Meadows and Zach McKinstry, I love them on my bench. I love them being plug and play guys every other spot. But like even bring in a Harrison Bader to play center field. Like that would be a huge improvement over a guy like Parker Meadows. Not having Wenzel Perez get 500 plate appearances probably would help this team.
If you're going to go into the season with Zach McKinstry at shortstop defensively, and I know Zach McKinstry is a pretty good defensive shortstop, but you really want him to be more of a utility guy.
What is a Swiss Army knife?
Yeah, like maybe you just tell Bo Bichette, hey, short-term deal, prove to the league you can play shortstop again. You can still hit free agency when you're under 30 years old. Like there's a lot of ways for this team to get better rapidly, and I don't know why there's no urgency to do so with the last time being Tarek Skubal here.
I like that. Yeah, they didn't make my list, but I think that's a good one. Should I rip off one of my names now?
Yeah, go. I'm going 5-1.
Okay, this is not. I didn't rank them in any order. It's just 5 teams that need it. I did not go. Yeah, that's fine.
I'll jump around.
I went with the team that knocked out the Detroit Tigers, Seattle Mariners. Similarly, you came about that close to being in the World Series for the first time in, what is that, franchise history or
ever?
Yeah, first time ever. And while you brought back Josh Naylor, which is good, there's still a gaping hole at third base. There is a gaping hole at second base. And while the bullpen's great, I think just getting another arm in there would be really good for this team. Like they're still lacking a little bit of punch on that offense. And like they had Eugenio Suarez, he didn't play well, but that was some punch, and maybe they bring him back. But losing Jorge Polanco's a big knock to this offense. He was great for them last year, great in the postseason. I think it's unrealistic to expect Cal Raleigh to hit 60 home runs again. Would you say that, James?
Yeah, I agree with you on that one for sure.
So the offense almost inherently is going to be worse because your catcher's not hitting 60 home runs. How are you going to be better than you were last year? And I feel like for a team that is positioned with just a few moves to just be the clear best team in the American League, why are you not making those moves yet?
Well, I mean, they got Rob Refsnyder and Jose Ferrer. Like, that's what you're talking about, guy.
Yeah.
But okay, I'm happy you brought up the Mariners because they were my team who I think has the most work left to do.
That was the top of my list technically. So
they're basically my number one. I just don't know why. Again, like they're not plugging holes at the bottom of this order. Again, like it doesn't seem like it's very hard to find a third baseman, second baseman, like you said, better than Ben Williamson and Cole Young. And it's a privilege that you have the DH spot ready to go. I know I like Dominic Canzone as a player, especially as a guy, as an Italian Buckeye.
Yeah, of course, that's your guy.
I have a kinship with Dominic Canzone. We spent 3 years on campus together, but probably if you're a World Series contender, don't want to go into opening day with him as like the 600 plate appearance designated hitter. And like Luke Raley's still there. Like without Harry Ford, too, in the organization, Cal Raleigh probably is expected to catch more. He probably can't DH as much unless you got Andrew Kisner to be more of a catcher. But he's also not hitting. And then you have...
It's also not good, yeah.
So how many guys in the lineup are you going to have on a daily basis that can't hit? Like 5? And also,
then,
Randy
like,
Rosarena, it's like been very hot and cold the last few years as well.
Who's the guy who got the big hit for them against the Blue Jays? That's like Leo Rivas. Like,
yeah, he's on the team.
He's on the team, but like there just needs to be some like depth too to this roster, especially with those holes at those positions. Now it's just the depth guys are playing every day.
Like you're going to go through a chunk of the season where you're going to get a lot of Samad Taylor, Ryan Bliss, Miles Mastroboni plate appearances again. This is the third straight year we're getting that crew, and I think that Mariners fans would tell us. I think the Mariners organization would support this that. Colt Emerson is going to have every single chance to get on this team at some point this year. But he's still 20 years old.
Yeah, he's a baby.
Like, he's a lefty bat. He can definitely handle shortstop defensively. He has power. He's got a hit tool. Like, he looks like a pretty solid player. It's just where...
And maybe that's it. Maybe they just moved J.P. Crawford to second because he was so god-awful at shortstop last year. Like,
yeah, I think you want to give Cole Young some run. I know Cole Young didn't hit much last year, but the underlying stuff was probably better than what J.P. Crawford is now.
He was one of my favorite... like plus 2,000 every day to hit a home run because he actually hits the ball hard.
He does hit the ball hard. And also, a lot of times I think still assume, I think rightfully, how good this Mariners rotation is. And the 5 going into the season of Brian Wu, Logan Gilbert, Luis Castillo, George Kirby, Bryce Miller, that's
ridiculous.
As good of a 5 as you can have in the league. But then you're, again, stuck with Logan Evans, Emerson Hancock. Like, you're comfortable with those guys as your 6 and 7, but you'd probably like a bit more security, especially with the the big injury concern from Bryce Miller last year and the slight injury concern with Brian Wu towards the end of the season. There seems to be so much work to do for a team that should be a true World Series frontrunner.
All right, so we got another one off your list. Then let me name another one now. Let me get a second team. I'm going to save the homer pick for the end. I'm going to spare the people 8 minutes in not talking about the Mets, but you know they're on there. I'm going to go with the Cincinnati Reds.
Oh.
I think the Reds got a lot of work to do. Reason being, and it's the reason why I didn't love them last year. It's just there's a lot of just average players on this roster. On the pitching side, more exciting, obviously, Hunter Green, Nick Lodolo, those kind of players. And even, I can't think of the rookie pitcher who we love, James. What's his name?
Chase Burns.
Chase Burns. There it is. Love Chase.
He's the man.
Just blanked out. But, like, you look at this lineup, and besides Ellie, there's not a whole lot of excitement in this lineup. There's not a lot of thing like Sal Stewart's good, but again,
Sal Stewart.
We saw a smaller sample of him. I think he's one of their better offensive players, but that says a lot too about this team. Like, you're trying to convince me that Dane Myers is going to be really exciting to watch in the outfield for a team that's trying to make the playoffs. I don't get it. I know they don't spend money like other teams because they have one of the poorer owners in baseball, poor in quotation marks.
Almost a billion.
But at the same time, it's like, the problem that I've always had with them is they're either going to be all 10% better than league average and they make the playoffs, or they're going to be all 10% worse than league average and they stink. And that doesn't feel like a fun way to go into the season at all.
Sal Stewart's one of the favorites for National League Rookie of the Year.
Yeah, and it's the ballpark and the fact that he's going to play. He's just better than pretty much everybody on that team except Ellie.
This team, though, a lot of what's going to happen with them is going to wind up with this collection of players. Noelvi Marte, Spencer Steer, J.J. Blade, Matt McClain, Key Brian Hayes. Like, you need 4 of those guys to be dudes if you want to try and win this division, see what you're going to do, and even have a playoff run.
There's a good chance that none of them are.
There's a chance none of them are. There's not like a chance none of them are, but there's a chance none of them are.
Like, I'm done believing you keep Brian Hayes. Like, there's no world where he's a good hitter again, is there?
Yeah, probably not. He could be a 9. He could be your 9 hitter though, and have
Cool,
an 85
yeah,
WRC plus and be one of the best defenders in baseball. I think a lot let's even now tighten that list up. A lot of this is going to wind up on Noelvi Marte, Matt McClain, Spencer Steer.
Matt McClain looked horrendous last year.
And Matt McClain was a strange prospect profile because I know he was a very high draft pick. He was an accomplished player at UCLA. He's small. Like the power metric that he was able to show in the half season when he was really good 2 years ago was like, wow, I can't believe this guy's doing this. And like what he did last year was like, I can't believe this guy's this bad now. It's like, geez, this is really rough. But Noelvi's the guy I like the most out of that group. Noelvi Marte is a big get off the bus guy. Like you see Noelvi Marte, you're like,
that's a ball player.
That guy could play ball right there. And again, he showed that off last season, moving from the infield to the outfield late, holding his own there, still hitting decently well. But if this team invested anything in this lineup, they'd be like a real shot to go on a playoff run.
This is not a shot at Spencer Steer, but it also is. It's just like a team full of Spencer Steers. And talk about not an exciting baseball player in the slightest.
Spencer Steer and J.J. Blade, almost the exact same age, a month apart, 28 years old.
J.J. Blade's 28?
Is that crazy?
Oh, wow. Yeah, no, now I know why nobody wanted him.
But also, it has to be so frustrating, especially for Reds fans, because it seemed like you guys were gung-ho on going after Kyle Schwarber. And all of a sudden, Kyle Schwarber's not available, and Bob Castellini is like, oh, never mind.
We're done. Yeah.
We tried, guys. We really tried.
We tried as hard as we could. Shout out TJ Friedel. I didn't give him respect. He's a good ball player. But similarly, he could go 110 to a 90 WRC plus like that.
I intentionally didn't mention TJ Friedel because I have faith in TJ Friedel and the baseball player that he is. Like the grinder, the good defender, and the put the ball in play guy. But you're not... TJ Friedel just doesn't have lightning rod in it. But he's probably a steady 2 to 3 win player.
Yes.
The rest of these guys are like 1 to 4 win players. Like I don't know what you're getting.
4 is even kind of being a little too much respect for them.
I think Matt McClain and Noelvi and even Sal Stewart if things go
Sal
perfect.
Stewart, I'll give you that one.
But Sal Stewart can't play defense. So again, I think McClain and Noelvi, if things go really 80th percentile outcomes, those are 4-win players. I think.
All right. So this was going to be where we talk about the Cubs. I know we're cutting in different clothes, different looks. It's a different day. We were going to talk about the Cubs, but they, in the middle of the night, got Alex Bregman. And one of the things that we talked about with them needing to do work was this offense needed a bat. We said Kyle Tucker felt like a perfect fit. It's funny that they didn't want him back. They brought Alex Bregman in, which we thought was a good move. So now, instead of talking about the Cubs, we're coming in and we're talking about the Red Sox because I think me and you, James, both thought it was kind of a done deal that Alex Bregman was going to be back in Boston some way, somehow. And now with him not being back, while the Red Sox have made a bunch of moves this offseason, still haven't signed a major league free agent. I don't want to say they've got holes to plug, but they've got work to do.
You could probably say they have holes to plug. I think if you look at their roster right now and you go into the regular season, you're going to have likely Marcelo Meyer playing third base, which I think that Marcelo Meyer could
maybe, I guess.
Maybe second. But I was saying you probably leave open to give another opportunity to Christian Campbell. So you right now have it's probably not the worst idea to give those two formerly top prospects, especially a guy like Campbell, whose data in the upper minors was so good 2 years ago, the runway to be starters. But if you got a nice, secure guy like Alex Bregman last year, who gelled so well with your team, so well with your young players. That quote that I read on the Bregman video we did about Roman Anthony saying, we loved him here. I'd love to have him back. He meant so much to us. To hear that quote and see the guy leave and now know that you're going to have still a lot of Roman Gonzalez who we like, and really relying on those two prospects, Meyer and Campbell, that's a big reach for a team that seems to be pushing a lot of chips into the middle.
Yeah, if they had Alex Bregman, it felt like they were, I'm not going to say that they're not, but a legitimate AL East division-winning contender. I felt like they were there. And now, knowing that you are going to have to rely on Meyer and Campbell, who both had their ups and downs at the major league level in their small samples, along with the fact that, even still, again, with Trevor Story, I keep mentioning this. I know counting numbers-wise, he does great, but that was the first time he's ever been healthy as a Boston Red Sox. I think there's always going to be concern. The defense isn't the strongest. And at the plate, while, again, the counting numbers were good, he was about a league average hitter last year. So you're now looking at an infield where you felt pretty confident with the guys that could fill in at second base, and maybe that's Bo Bichette if they go after him. Maybe it's someone that we're not thinking about. They go to the trade market, whatever it is. But I do think that they need to bring in at least one guy right now to play second and third base, along with the fact that they do have the weird logjam still in the outfield where they have the 4 guys for 3 positions. And I think they are going to want to move one of them to help make their team better in a different spot. Still a lot of work to do with this roster.
Yeah, that's what this whole video is about. Teams with work to do. Like, as of right now, especially, you have to kind of think about the strength of the Blue Jays and the Yankees. Like, those rosters, top to bottom, are just better than the Red Sox roster right now. And maybe it's not by a lot. Maybe it is by a lot, depending on who you ask. But
I think it's close. Without Bregman, it definitely – because every time I've talked about the Red Sox this year, I've just assumed Alex Bregman is their third baseman. And I think my head still hasn't even conceptualized the idea that he's not on this roster now. That third base is Marcelo Myers.
And it's funny enough that it just seemed like Bregman was such a better fit for this Red Sox team. Like, the Red Sox are a team that can use some floor, especially at a third base corner infield spot, where the Cubs team is floor heavy, floor dependent, locked on floor. No, not a lot of ceiling, but again, more floor is never bad. But you felt a lot more secure about where this Red Sox lineup could go, where this Red Sox team could go with a guy like Bregman there. And then you also got that crazy note from AJ Pierzynski in foul territory that apparently Craig Breslow and the Red Sox were really comfortable with the fact that, or at least really thought the fact that Bregman was bluffing them, saying he had a much bigger offer, asking them to up theirs. And I do think that it did feel like most of the offseason, like the Red Sox were the only suitor for Bregman. So I don't really hate that double bluff, that double fault. We were big tennis guys over the weekend for Breslow to be like, yeah, sure, if you have the other offer. Bregman's like, okay, and he just took the other offer. But it did feel like he was so much of a better fit on this Red Sox team than the Cubs. And then where do you turn now to get an infielder, honestly, for them?
Like, maybe, is it Eugenio Suarez? Do you just try and go get almost say, let's...
Smasher?
Yeah, tell me if I'm wrong here. Like, let's not care about floor. Let's go for ceiling with Eugenio, just because there's a pretty good chance if he's healthy, he's probably hitting 40 home runs. And I think no one's ever going to be upset with that, even if his defense isn't that great.
No, definitely not. But then you are still getting into a log-jammy kind of roster, something we saw the Mets go through last year with how many players that are one-dimensional on your team. Like, if you're going to carry Wilson Contreras, Masataka Uchida, and Eugenio Suarez, like, you start to get a little tight. You really are going to be relying on guys like Nick Sogard and Romy Gonzalez to do a lot of the filling in defensively on this team.
Well, not necessarily, because if you get a Eugenio Suarez to play third base, Marcelo Meyer is the Sogard essentially for this team. Christian Campbell is either playing second base or Romy playing second base, and both of those guys can float around to a bunch of different positions. They might not play them well, but I actually think that, like, I'm talking myself into Eugenio Suarez. I think should be the guy on a short-term deal rather than going after Bo Bichette for this team.
Especially because it seems like blatantly Craig Breslow does not want to sign a long-term contract. He did whatever he could to get rid of the one long-term contract he inherited, and then past that, it's like he doesn't want to take on any others.
Especially because I think both me and you believe in Marcelo Meyer and Christian Campbell as players in the future. It might not be their year this year, but Eugenio Suarez is kind of a perfect stopgap for these guys to maybe even just get more plate appearances, but not have the pressure of needing to be a producer in this lineup.
I believe a lot more in Marcelo Meyer and Christian Campbell. If I say this line all the time, if we can smush their talents together.
Of course, yeah. But you've never been a huge Marcelo Meyer guy. I like Marcelo Meyer a lot.
I've never been a huge Marcelo Meyer guy. I wonder where the bat winds up. Like, everything he does in the minor leagues is still great. The data's still amazing. He came up last year and he wasn't like terrible, but then he got hurt kind of instantly. We didn't really get the chance to see if he could grow with it. I still think he could be fine. I never saw the Marcelo Meyer star projection, which I think is where you began because you pulled that baseball card at the time. But Campbell's a guy who I still think at the plate could be a monster. It's just he has no defensive home. So again, if you have Suarez, Contreras, Christian Campbell,
well, Contreras is great at first, and
he's great at first, but like it's a similar kind of bat, right-handed bat that can only play a corner most likely.
But is that a problem?
It might not be a problem, but I do wonder how tight they want to make this roster.
Yeah, that's fair. How tight they want to make the roster. Moving one of those outfielders will also definitely make this a little more clean, along with what in the world are they going to do with Tristan Casas?
I don't know. There were some weird things that came out about Tristan Casas, too. Again, he's another guy. Add him to that exact mix. Like, guys who can only do corner stuff. Like, he's...
Also, if he ever is healthy in his life, his knees, his hips, everything seems to be not good.
Like, who's going to be this team's designated hitter? Who's actually going to wind up playing center field for these guys? Like, is Ceddanne Rafaela going to play second again? Like, these are pieces that don't fit together super well as this team's currently constructed. And we're in the middle of January, and the guy who we thought was the shoe-in to kind of help tie this together a little bit more is now playing for a different team. So This is a team that has gotten, at the same time, a lot of credit for the work they've done this offseason, and especially from their fans, a lot of derision for some of what they haven't done.
I actually think they have had a good offseason because I think they've definitely gotten, I think, overall roster building better, but they need more. You can't be done here. Your moves can't just be those two guys from the Cardinals.
And something that happens, which again, it just happens the division you play in is one of the most competitive in all of baseball right now. And you have two teams better than you in it, so you have work to do to get yourself to that point.
And that's why they're on here. All right, I don't know who's up next because, again, we filmed this a few days ago, and the news really screwed us, but let's cut to that. Let's go to the American League. What are the Rangers doing?
Good point.
I can't figure out what the plan is there because they talked about wanting to shed salary, and then they did in the immediate by having a few less $1 million by having Marcus Semien, but then they took the albatross of a contract that is Brandon Nimmo right now. And I think Brandon Nimmo is going to be good. This is not anti-Brandon Nimmo. We love Brandon Nimmo on the windup. But, like, if your goal is to is to not spend as much money, you didn't do that. And then you cut Adolis Garcia, like, whatever. I don't know. He kind of stinks. You look around this team and I go, like, ugh, and your rotation and pitching is horrible. Horrible. And it doesn't seem like they have any interest in improving it.
And I don't know where the depth is coming from that team. If anything goes wrong, it's like, how do you plug a hole? Like, they're a worse version of the Braves heading into last season.
Way worse.
Where, again, if things go wrong, and, the things going wrong are something happening to either Jacob deGrom or Corey Seager. Those guys don't get injured, right?
Let me tell you, I was about to say, the good scenario is Jacob deGrom makes 30 starts, right?
That's
again. And Corey Seager plays 115 games. That's like, nice. All right, Corey Seager, 115. Very good. Pretty healthy year. That's the good. What's the bad for this team? What's the worst case scenario? And it feels like that could happen.
I kept them off my list because it seems like they're just one of these teams that are like, we can't spend money. Like, we're out. Like, we're completely maxed out. But it's just, again, like, they're a team where it's like, I can't see their plan, but I think they are living with tons of restrictions. But you missed the playoffs and you got a full season from Jacob deGrom.
Like, that's almost impossible.
Well, besides the 2018, 2019 Mets.
I was going to say. It's like,
it was very possible back then.
But are they just trying to be the 2018, 2019 Mets? Why would you ever aspire to be that?
2019 Mets might have won a championship if we had this playoff system. I'm going to stand on that business forever. But it's like you squint and like, I don't really know what's going on there.
No. All right, I got two more teams left, James. How many do you have left?
I have two left as well.
All right, give me your next one.
Mine are both in the National League.
Okay, me too.
Okay, cool. So again, I think we know who we're saving our last team for.
Of course.
And we'll keep you guys waiting for that one if you guys really want to stick and be sickos with us. But San Diego Padres.
Ooh.
Just keep going. Like, what's the plan here, guys? Do you want to win? Do you not want to win?
Are you selling the team? Like, what is happening in San Diego?
Yeah, this is the most work to do this offseason, from ownership all the way down to, like, the guys who work in the ballpark. Because I don't know what the plan is here. Like, is Sung Moon Sung going to be an everyday player for you?
No clue.
Someone that was a bit of a light hitter in the KBO? Like, is Randy Vasquez starting your fourth game of the season? Is Joe Musgrove healthy on opening day? Did you see Joe Musgrove also throwing flat ground outside Petco Park on the pavement?
Did not see that, no. That's
literally
cool,
on the sidewalk outside. That guy's just such a San Diego dude. I love it. Like, you have, hands down, probably the best bullpen in baseball.
Yes.
And then it's like it's
how do you get a lead to that bullpen with that pitching that's going to be out there?
It's the horse meme where, like, the back of the horse is drawn so intricately, so beautifully artistically shaded, and the front of the horse is a box with a nose.
Yeah, like
What's just happening, guys.
Because there's a world where I could also see this team being awesome. Like, they have every ability in the world to be a awesome baseball team to compete with the Dodgers
every day.
But then they just don't do anything. But, like, AJ Preller is such a fucking sicko that, like, I wouldn't be shocked if he's like, you know how we have no farm system? We're going to have even less of no farm system. And they pull off some crazy trades, like, in February, and all of a sudden they do have some pitching.
I guess maybe. Even if they have pitching, like, Freddie Fermin starting every day, Jake Cronenworth starting every day, and one of either Sung Moon Sun or Will Wagner starting every day. So, like, you're just selling a third of your lineup down the river. And that's even with Gavin Sheets. Gavin Sheets, the DH, like, in a run-producing spot in your lineup. Like, how do you move forward with this team? Like, do you want to compete or do you not? Because I don't know if there's another team that's stuck in the middle as much as the San Diego Padres right now.
I might have a team. That's my next one.
Is the next one? Well, who's you?
San Francisco Giants.
Okay, yeah.
That team's stuck in the middle. That team's so stuck in the middle. The improvements they've made this offseason?
They kind of are the Padres, actually.
A little bit. Like, they also, like, Logan Webb's great. We know Logan Webb's awesome. I don't know how much I trust anybody else in that rotation. I know Robbie Ray looks all right.
At this point.
It's another year older for a guy who's had injury issues the last few years. Like, let me see Robbie Ray before I start really giving him full credit right now. I think he's like 35, 36 now too. So let me see that.
He's 34.
Okay. A little younger than I thought. Okay. Yeah. That helps a little bit. Maybe a little more faith. But then the rest of the rotation is like, who? Like,
and they've also
what was the guy that pitched against the Mets, the Taiwanese guy? I can't think of his name.
Oh, wait. I'll say it right now.
And I just don't want to guess because that would be a bad look.
Kai Wei Teng.
Like, is he going to pitch? Like, he threw like a hard 90.
The funny thing about them is that, well, they're after the first two guys, Robbie Ray and of course Logan Webb, who's going to be a Cy Young contender. Then it's like Tyler Motley. It's like, I don't know.
Yeah, cool.
Adrian Hauser, Landon Rupp, but like Landon Rupp still got stuff, but just the health and like it gets weird sometimes for him because he's such a strange guy with his arm.
And their bullpen stinks. It is mega dog shit.
I will say, I'm a huge Sam Henches guy.
Okay. Early on Sam Henches.
I've been early on Sam Henches for 5 years. He's got some crazy extension from the left side. He's like 6'6", and he can still dial up to like the mid-90s. With the extension, it's like 100. But this is like the Padres without the bullpen. But they're taking shots on some crazy guys. And like while their rotation is bad depth-wise and people we just named, they got 6 through 10 covered.
Yes. They have a lock on 6 through 10.
Between Carson Wisenhunt, Blade Tidwell, Carson Seymour, Hayden Birdsong, Keaton Wynn, like they got guys to plug and play.
The problem is those 6 through 10 could very easily be 3 through 5 at some point for them. And that's the scary part is that if Logan Webb and Robbie Ray aren't perfect, what the hell does this team do on the pitching side? And then even at the plate, very incomplete offense, extremely incomplete lineup.
Very complete lineup, but it's like, again, these are the not sexy Padres.
Yes. It's
That's
like
exactly what this is.
Like Devers is great. Matt Chapman's great. Willie Adames is great. Like those three guys feel pretty confident like they're going to probably combine for 100 home runs and drive in a bunch of RBIs. But then like Patrick Bailey can't hit a lick. Second base, they've got nothing. Left field, Elliot Ramos, like he was good until he wasn't, and he can't really play the position. Center field, Jung-Woo Lee, I think is a major question mark still.
I think Jung-Woo Lee is a stable baseball player.
Yes, and then right field, who even plays right field for them?
Oh, we're probably giving Luis Matos one more shot.
Yeah, and he hasn't proven himself for a second. He's
also still not even 24 years old. Luis Matos is younger by a full year, more than a full year than Drew Gilbert.
I like Bryce Eldridge, but there's question marks in his game for sure at the major league level. So, like, where's it going to come? Because if you don't have the good pitching, you need to hit. But if you don't have a good lineup, then the bad pitching is not going to really help. I don't know how they actually take that next step forward besides Tony Vitello sprinkling some crazy magic dust on them.
That's kind of what I feel like is going to happen. Like, I think the Giants might have a vibe season. And, like, you can have vibe seasons in that ballpark because
they've done it.
It's like it's the opposite of conversations we've had about the Athletics, where it's like this lineup is sick, but we gotta get through with that pitching. Not that it's saying the Giants lineup is sick, but I think the Giants lineup, at least their top 4, is like this is gonna be a pretty good lineup. Like
the Giants are in my head. The Giants are like locked in. Like their best players are like Matt Chapman's a little different at third base, but I'm like their best players are like 10th at their position.
Yeah. Oh, I guess Devers not. He's better than 10th best first baseman. Adames is better than 10th best shortstop to me.
I think Adames is right around that top 10. Like I think Devers around that top 10 at first base too, just especially in that ball. I don't know how many home runs he can really hit in that ballpark.
I guess that's true, but those are still both like 4 or 5 win players.
No, yeah, I know they're good.
Those are good ass ball players.
Also loaded, it's just they're missing elite. They don't have that elite.
I think that's why they tried to get Devers last season because Devers could still be elite. Devers could be one of the 10 best hitters in the league if it's
gonna be a weird way. I think it's just probably not gonna be in the home run category. He might drive in like 120 with like 28 home runs.
And the best thing is that because of that ballpark and just simply the weather in San Francisco in July, like these guys wind up pitching well. Like Adrian Hauser could have a 3.8 ERA for 160 innings.
Yeah,
he could Zach Littell.
He definitely could Zach Littell them.
But yeah, I like that pick by you for them.
They should be all over Bo Bichette.
And all of these teams should be all over Bo Bichette, Alex Bregman, Kyle Tucker. Like these guys need to find homes. But our last team, a lot of work to do.
New York Mets.
It's New York Mets.
Yeah, and maybe that's a homer pick. Maybe you guys at home who aren't Mets fans are like, this team's actually not that bad.
Or the opposite, this team sucks.
Yeah. It's tough for us to know how much we got rid of from a team that didn't make the playoffs and feel good about what this team is going into the 2026 season as.
But also, I think that sometimes is like a fallacy in analysis. That was weird 2 words put together. Because the Mets, while they played so poorly for 4 straight months last year, it's like I hate saying this shit. Like all the under the hood shit, we should have been better. Like that team,
we were yelling about it for months. We're like, they can't be this bad. They can't possibly.
Based on the Pythagorean win projections, which is just basically taking a run differential from the year before, the Mets were a Pythagorean 90 win team, and they won 83. So it's like okay.
Also, in the same regard, because of how terrible they finished the season and the stink, the horrible taste that's left in my mouth, until I see something different, I can't think that it's going to be different.
Well, that's what you got to get. That's why I think they got all those players away. Not saying that we support getting all of those players away, but just the fact that we're going to the season, like if Marcus Semien his second opening day, I'm gonna lose my mind.
I'm gonna be sick to my stomach.
Marcus Semien also had an 800 OPS for the last 75 games he played last year. So again, maybe it's just us being a little too close to the Mets right now, and I think that's a situation where I think the people closest to the Mets are the least confident in them. I think the people further from the Mets have a little bit more confidence.
Because you still have Juan Soto, you still have Francisco Lindor. Juan Soto is a top 5 player in the league. Francisco Lindor is a top 10.
15.
Yeah, those two guys are elite at what they do. So having 2 elite hitters, there's not many teams in baseball that they can say they have 2 elite hitters. And then on the pitching side, that's where it's terrifying. Because if the Mets had any sort of pitching last year, they make the playoffs backwards, crab walking. They could have crawled into the playoffs, and they didn't because they didn't have anything. It was insane how bad it was. But yet still, I find myself being like, Sean Manaea can't be as bad as he was. I was talking to you earlier from August 1st to the end of the season. Sean Manaea had the same K to walk ratio as Tarek Skubal, yet he had a 7 ERA. I don't even know how that happens. And I watched the game.
He got pieced.
Yeah.
I remember watching that happen because he would get pieced up and he didn't have enough energy or stamina.
It was one bad inning because we were obsessed, and rightfully so, obsessed with getting a starter through the 5th inning because we hadn't been able to do it.
And
but that was the downfall, was that if Sean Manaea just went forward, we'd probably actually win some more games down the stretch.
I'm excited this year by what the Mets can do offensively. Again, one, because of just starting off with Lindor and Soto, and also I think we're still going to make hopefully some kind of other offensive addition. I'm very confident in Carson Bench. I'm excited for another year for Francisco Alvarez and Brett Baty. I also think that we're going to see major league hitting development in the Mets for the first time in our lives.
Yeah, I think that would be the first time in our lives.
Kevin Long, shout out Kevin Long. Kevin Long's elite.
Since Daniel Murphy.
Chili Davis had his moment too, but I think the combination of Jeff Albert and Troy Snicker, we're going to see some really good, again, professional hitting development. A lot of emphasis on pulled balls in the air, a lot of hopefully better swing decisions happening. Maybe if you figure something out with your swing decisions, you don't announce it to the world so they can switch back on you. That one pissed me off last year. I would love that, yeah. And I'm also, again, I think a lot of what's going to happen with this Mets team is going to lie on the shoulders of both the olds and the youngs. It's going to be a combination of Baty, Vientos, those guys aren't that young anymore, Francisco Alvarez, and probably Carson Bench, who's only 1 year younger than Francisco Alvarez, which is crazy.
That's nuts.
Those guys doing something, and then please, dear Lord, Marcus Semien, Jorge Polanco, be good and healthy.
Yes. Because, right now, the Mets don't have a center fielder or a left fielder. No. That's terrifying for a team that wasn't amazing. And then the bullpen is also the really, really scary part. Because we did the glob of chaos last year, and we had arguably the best reliever in baseball at the back end.
It was too much chaos.
But it was too much chaos, and it feels like it's even more chaos possibly this year because our closer stunk last year.
Yeah, but I'm very confident Devin Williams.
I am too, but I think it would be very homer of us to be like, he's just going to be disgusting again. He did stink for a good portion of last year.
True. I think there's a better chance than not that he's a top 6 closer in the league, though. And I'm confident standing up business saying that. I think also the cool thing about this Mets bullpen is that it weirdly at the back end is deeper right now than it was at any point last year. Especially considering the fact that Ryan Helsley forgot how to pitch. I think the foursome of Rayleigh, Minter, Luke Weaver, Devin Williams is not a bad high-leverage group of relievers at all. The one thing that group is missing, though, is gas. And this Mets bullpen is desperately needing gas right now. And I wonder if they're circling the drain, just waiting for the Michael Kopech one-year redemption, maybe just be the next team that tries to get Sir Anthony Dominguez to throw strikes. There has to be some kind of gas that gets added. Maybe it becomes a situation where Brandon Sproat winds up having his Freddie Peralta moment, and he just goes into the bullpen midseason, and you just see a guy who's whoa, this guy's throwing gas right now. There's a lot of work left to do, but I think they're much more comfortable with it than anyone who supports them.
Oh, yeah. No, I think the Mets are very much going into the year being we've got young players that are going to fill these holes that you're worried about. We believe in those guys. That's terrifying from a fan perspective. And I think that's sometimes, again, us being a little bit too close to the situation. But I'd love to know who you guys think have the most work to do. Is there anybody that we left off? I mean, we didn't mention the Yankees, who haven't done anything this offseason.
I thought you were going to mention the Yankees, but I think they're a pretty complete team, pitching health notwithstanding.
I mean, it's the whole conversation we've had about why we didn't think they were going to have a very active offseason. That roster's pretty much set.
It's really good. It's really whole.
I don't know, if they're a World Series team, I don't. That's still up for grabs in my opinion. Just because
based on win totals in the sports books, they are projected to be the best team in the American League.
Sure, but there's something that goes on in those tiny little brains of theirs that like makes them be like, "Oh, this game matters. We can't win." And Aaron Boone is still their manager, and as long as that guy's there, I don't know if they can win, but that roster's pretty complete. There's not a lot of space for them to fill the gaps. So that's kind of where I went with this exercise.
Yeah, same.
Who's got the holes that are trying to win right now?
Yeah, because like the Diamondbacks, they don't have any rotation or bullpen, but I just don't know what their actual plan is. Like the Orioles could use another pitcher for sure, but they've done so much. I can't say they still have that much to do.
Correct.
The Red Sox in a similar ilk, while they haven't been active in the free agent market, they've really plugged up a lot. They're two biggest
I love
holes
what they've done, yeah,
via trade, and they could still use another bat. But I think that they'll probably be able to be opportunistic and find that. Like the Phillies, also like they're getting the band back together, and that's probably not a bad idea. Like it's just
also probably not a good idea.
Yeah, maybe not either. The Braves wrapped it up early on. December 15th, Alex Anthopoulos like, I'm done.
They spent $36 million on Raisel Iglesias and Ha-Seong Kim and said, we're good.
And Robert Suarez, the oldest back end of a bullpen, I think, in baseball history. Anthopoulos probably been Santorini for the last 2 months, but the Braves could just use like so many $5 million players.
Yeah, and they probably won't sign a single other one.
No, but that's kind of where we'll leave that one.
Yeah, subscribe to the Windup if you guys have not yet done so. We appreciate you watching. You can follow James on social media at
James Chiano.
I'm Draft Nick Mark. We'll catch you guys on the next one. Peace out.